Welcome to our Magenta's reporting, scheduling, and what's next lunch and learn. Thank you all for joining us. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand. Here in Melbourne, this is the Wurundjeri people. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. I'm Alan Lim, Installation Training Consultant at Magenta's Practice Management. Today we'll be focusing on Gentu reports and when to run them, setting up automatic SMS templates and SMS schedules for your appointment reminders, and what's coming up next in our development roadmap. Following the presentation, I will be joined by Olivia McCarthy, our National Customer Training Manager, Tricia Fitzgerald, Magenta's Practice Management Trainer, and Sian Barnes, Gentu Support Officer for Q&A. We encourage you to send in your questions throughout the Lunch and Learn by going to the Q&A button found in the bottom of your webinar screen. Type in your question and click Submit for your question to be sent to our moderators. We'll do our best to address as many as we can during our Q&A. At the close of the webinar, we invite you to spend a couple of minutes completing our survey. We are keen to tailor these sessions to what resonates most with our practices, and we do value and encourage you to leave your thoughts. We hope you enjoy our presentation today. We'll start with reporting in Gentu. We often get asked what reports should be run and when. Gentu has a number of different reports. Some of these reports should be run daily, weekly, monthly, or at the end of the year. Firstly, end-of-day banking often gets neglected, as there is a misconception that you only need to do your banking if you are physically going to the bank to deposit your cash and checks. If a practice only reconciles at the end of the week, this may cause some confusion when trying to settle the totals and to fix any mistakes when discrepancies are detected. We generally recommend that you reconcile your end of day by checking the totals in your banking report and cross-referencing this with your FPOS merchant copy. As a default, Gentu shows only today's takings based on the date range set above. Gentu does not require you to seal, close off, or batch your banking totals. If you reconcile each day, simply open up the banking report, double-check the totals above to see if everything matches. Simply print out a copy and staple your merchant copy receipts to confirm reconciliation. As a rule of thumb, it is best practice to fix any financial mistakes on the day, as this will be less confusing and ensure reporting integrity. If adjustments and refunds are completed on different days, you need to remember to backdate accordingly. Otherwise, this may lead to inaccurate reporting totals. The end-of-day banking can also be reconciled per provider and location if required. If you have not reconciled the previous day, you can simply change the start and end date accordingly. There are a few reports that should be checked at the end of each week, and these include the claims control, organizational remittance, and missing invoices. The claims control window should be checked at least once a week to keep track of the progress of any electronic claims. All Medicare bulk bill, DVA Department of Veteran Affairs, and Eclipse in-hospital claims are managed through here. Other claims that you may see here are failed patient claims, where patients have paid the full fee up front and the claim has not been successfully received by Medicare. If your practice deals with third-party claims such as work cover, TAC, public to private, and/or bill solicitors and lawyers often, then the organizational remittance report should be managed at least once a week. Another type of claim that needs to be managed through here are any manual health fund claims or top-ups that the practice has applied for. The reason why these third-party payments need to be processed through here rather than the patient's account screen is because many of these third parties may actually send a single lump sum payment for multiple patients. The organizational remittance window allows you to record a single payment and then allocate it to the relevant claims. Click on the organizational remittance, then click to select the third party. Select the provider, and then enter in the direct debit or payment date. Feel free to enter in a reference number of the payment if required. Select the payment method and then enter in the total amount paid. If you can't see the claim, make sure you change the service period and/or date. Proceed to go through the list and allocate the above payment against the claims listed. Once the remaining amount is zero, click on the Save button in the bottom right. Another report that commonly gets overlooked is the missing invoices report. This report can be very useful to help ensure that all patient appointments and procedures have been invoiced and accounted for. As a default, the report will set the dates to the start and end of the current week. So we normally recommend that you run this report on a Friday afternoon. If you book in post-ops, this will still appear in the list, and you will need to go through and tick these off as not required, since post-ops are generally not billed. Cancel appointments and leave the appointments in the actual appointment book. These will also appear in this list. Click on the date, this will open up to the appointment booking. Whereas if you click on the patient's name, this will open up the patient's details. A quick side tip, if you are using a mouse with a scroll button, you can use the scroll button to click on the link and this will automatically open up a new tab. So you can then easily switch between the two tabs accordingly. There are a few reports that should be checked at the end of each month, and these include the unresolved invoices, financial reports, deposits report, and the assistant report if you are billing for any assistance. Unresolved invoices report should be reviewed at least once a month to keep on top of any outstanding invoices. As a default, the unresolved invoices report shows you all outstanding accounts as of today's date. This report not only does it show patient accounts, but it will also show third parties such as health funds, Medicare, Veteran Affairs, work cover, etc. The report will show the oldest outstanding account first, so these are the ones that should be actioned and followed up on. Age totals in the top right indicate how much of this is currently outstanding, that is 30 days, 60 days, and 90 plus days overdue. If you click on the unpaid line, it will open up the invoice in question, so you can review the invoice details and resend the invoice if required. If you need to contact the patient or open up the patient's record, you can click on the patient's name above. The financial report is commonly generated at the end of the month. If required, this can also be utilized each week for the doctors or at the end of each quarter or financial year for your bookkeeper or accountant. This report shows when the invoice was created, the GST amounts, payments made and allocated to an invoice, any refunds issued, item fee adjustments, and voided invoices. It is important to understand that deposits taken will not appear in this financial report until an invoice has been issued and deposit allocated to the said invoice. The financial report can be generated by provider and site of service. You can then set the required date range or simply select the time period from the three dots menu. Within the report, you can click on the drop-down arrow to the left of each row to review more details. If details are cut off, such as the patient's name or transaction description, simply hover your mouse over the text and a tooltip will appear with the full details. Any transactions that are shown in grey indicate that the specific transaction falls outside of the report's date range. These are simply listed here to provide context when reviewing the specific transactions. The values of these grey text lines will not be included in the overall totals for this date range. To save a copy of this report for your doctor, bookkeeper, or accountant, simply click on the Export button found in the top right. And within the Export button, there are two options: Invoice Report and Item Level Report. Once you select the report, this will export to a CSV file which can be opened in Microsoft Excel. Invoice Report will show a clear list of invoice and paid transactions based on the criteria that was set in Gentu. The columns found in this report are the same as those seen in Gentu. Whereas the item level report will show a breakdown of item numbers invoiced per patient and the corresponding payments on a subsequent line. The financial report is more detailed, that includes invoiced, GST amounts, payments, refunds, item fee adjustments, and any voided items. Your bookkeeper or accountant can then utilize these spreadsheets to then make any particular changes or filters, or even create pie charts if required. The deposit report should be reviewed at least once a month to ensure that deposits are either allocated against the correct invoices and/or whether patients need to be followed up regarding their surgical procedures. Deposits displayed in this list are grouped by the account holder name. When you click on the drop-down arrow to the left of each record, this expands to show the specific details of each deposit. Another reason why we suggest this report to be generated is to check to see whether your team has accidentally recorded an additional payment against a procedure, rather than allocating a pre-existing deposit or prepayment. The assistant report shows you a financial overview of the assistant billing that you have invoiced in Gentu. This report can be filtered by surgeon and assistant, but it can also display the results by service date, which includes unpaid accounts, or by payment date, which simply shows all paid accounts. Please note that the data in the assistant report refreshes 3 times a day between 9 and 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. The financial report, which we spoke of just before, can also be run at the end of the year. So if your bookkeeper or accountant needs a consolidated report, simply change the date range accordingly in the financial report. Two other reports that are infrequently utilized are the referral report and the item report. At the end of the year, practices may be interested to see where their patients are coming from. Gentu provides a referral report that can be based on provider, site of service, referrer, and period by selecting from the drop-down arrow. What's special about this report is that not only does it show who has referred patients to your practice, but it will show total income generated, number of referrals, and where your patients are physically being referred from on an interactive online map, with pins denoting the suburbs that your patients are coming from. The bottom of the screen is a list of all the referring doctors and patients. When you click on an individual referring doctor, the tabs along the top will filter and show the relevant data accordingly. The list of patients down below will also reflect this. Need to open the referring doctor's profile or patient profile, simply click on the link icon found on the left of the person's name. Finally, the item report shows the total number of times each item number has been billed at your practice. Similar to other reports, this report can be filtered by provider, site of service, by specific item numbers and date range. This could be useful to see how many new patients have attended over a period of time. The chart seen in the top right corner simply shows the top 10 items billed along with the corresponding account types. For example, self, bulk bill, health fund, or other. The next topic we will look at is setting up SMS schedules and templates. Times where you need to contact the patients to follow up on referrals, accounts, cancellations, or reschedules. Rather than having to call the patient, you can set up SMS templates which can then be sent directly to the patients without the need to compile a new message each and every time. To add preset SMS templates into Gentu, go to Settings, then select SMS templates and schedules. Click on the teal Add button. Enter in the template name, in this example, No Referral. Within the template copy box, a default appointment reminder message appears. Adjust this message if needed, otherwise you can remove all the text to start from scratch. So we will start with, hi, comma, you do not have a valid referral for your appointment on, comma. We will now insert a reference field that will automatically place the next appointment date. Go to the Insert Field drop-down and select Date. Then continue to add to the template with, please ensure that you organize one prior to this appointment. Full stop. Thank you. Full stop. We will also include the doctor's name so the patient knows where this message is coming from. Click back on the Insert Reference field and select Practitioner. Do check the number of characters in the lower left to see how many credits this message will use up. Adjust the message accordingly. Once you have completed your message, click on the Save button found in the bottom right. Rather than sending out SMS reminders manually, to save time, Gentu provides a great feature where you can set up SMS confirmations and reminders to send out automatically at a set time and interval. It also accommodates for different messages that may be needed to be sent out for different providers or based on what the patient is booked in for. So for example, patients who come into the consult rooms for an appointment versus those who are expecting a telehealth consult. As part of the SMS schedules, when patients respond to the SMS reminder, the patient's appointment will automatically be marked as confirmed. If the patient responds back with a negative response, so for example, hi, can I please reschedule this for the following morning, or no, I can't make it, or thank you for reminding me, etc., these will be flagged in the patient's appointment with a plus symbol, and the response will be visible on the left underneath the patient's name. Appointment confirmation messages can be set up if practices want to send out a patient's appointment detail to the patient via SMS shortly after the appointment has been booked in. To set up the appointment confirmation within the SMS templates and schedule screen, click on the Schedules tab found in the top left. Then in the top right, click on Add SMS Schedule. Click on the Type drop-down and select Appointment Confirmation. Change the name of this template if required. If you would like the SMS to be sent out for all patient bookings for all providers and all appointment types, you can leave the provider field and appointment types field blank. As a default, Gentu is set to send 15 minutes after an appointment is created. So if patients were to change their mind and move their appointments around whilst they are booking it over the phone, they will not receive a message till 15 minutes after. The default SMS message reads, confirming your appointment with practitioner's name, on date, for time, at location. Call phone number if you have any questions. This can be adjusted if required, otherwise simply click on the Save button. A quick side note, the location reference field that we saw in the template refers to the site of service that are set in the practitioner's profiles, which we will take a look at afterwards. These sites of services are linked in the patient's appointment as a location. When setting up SMS schedules for appointment reminders, as mentioned before, Gentu has the option to set up different messages for different providers or appointment types. In this example, we will look at setting up a different message to be sent out for our new patient appointments. Click on the Add SMS Schedule button found in the top right. Click the Type drop-down menu and select Appointment Reminder. In the name, you can add in New Patient or NP. Once again, if the message applies for all providers, simply leave the provider field blank. In the Appointment Types drop-down, we want to click to select New Patient. If you have multiple new patient appointment types in the list, simply repeat the steps to add the additional ones. As a default, Gentu has 3 days before appointment set. If you do not want patients to be calling in on weekends, click to change to working days. Over to the right is the Send Time dropdown. If this dropdown is left blank, Gentu will simply stagger the appointment reminders throughout the day, based on the patient's original booking time. So for example, if the patient is booked in at 9:30, they will receive an SMS at 9:30, 3 working days prior. However, if you would like the SMSs to all be sent out at the same time, simply click on the drop-down and select your desired time. As a default, Gentu will tick Don't Send if appointment status is applied. What this means is that if a patient's booked in their appointment and their status has been updated to confirmed, the patient will not receive this reminder via SMS to confirm their appointment. Gentu will display a generic appointment reminder message. If you have set up different SMS templates, you can select the template from the Insert Templates dropdown, or alternatively, you can edit the message accordingly. In this example, we may want to include a prompt asking the patients to come in 10 minutes prior to fill in relevant paperwork, or maybe to include parking instructions or directions to the consult rooms because you may be located in a large hospital. Or maybe the practice has a link to an online form, which can be then included in the actual SMS. To save, click on the Save button found in the bottom right. This next example shows how you can set up an appointment reminder for other appointment types. Click on the Add SMS button found in the top right. Click the Type drop-down menu and select Appointment Reminder. Leave the name field as the default. Once again, if the message applies for all providers, simply leave the provider field blank. In the Appointment Types drop-down, we're going to now choose all the other types, such as angiogram, post-op, and review. We will now set this to 3 working days before the appointment and set the default time to 10 a.m. Box down below, make any necessary changes as required. So for this example, we're going to remove to reschedule and just leave the message as reply Y to confirm or call practice number. Once again, to save, click on the Save button found in the bottom right. This last example shows how you can send a different message for telehealth appointments, ensuring that patients don't accidentally attend the telehealth consults in person. Click on the Add SMS button found in the top right. Click the Type drop-down menu and select Appointment Reminder. In the Name text box, add in telehealth. Once again, if the message applies for all providers, simply leave the provider field blank, and in the Appointment Types drop-down, click to select telehealth. We will leave it as 3 working days before the appointment and set the default time to 10 a.m. In the text box down below, make any necessary changes. So for this example, we're going to add your telehealth appointment is on date, comma. So we're going to remove that section there, and we are then going to include the doctor's name by going to Insert Reference. We'll call around time, full stop, and we're going to remove the location. Reply Y to confirm or call practice number. Once again, to save, click on the Save button found in the bottom right. If your doctor does teleconsults, a similar SMS template can be set up for those that use Zoom or DoxyMe to include the DoxyMe link as needed. As mentioned before, the location reference field found within these SMS templates are associated with the location that is set when booking in patient appointments. These location names can be changed to include the full consult room address by going to Settings, then Manage Users, click on the doctor, go to the Practitioner Details tab along the top, scroll down and click to edit the site of service name. Put in the practice name and address. So for this example, Main Street Consulting, 56 Main Street, Croydon. Then click on the Save button found in the bottom right. To save on characters, try to abbreviate and do not include the state or postcode. If the doctor works from multiple consult rooms, repeat the steps just shown. Within the appointment book, once SMSs have been sent out to patients via the SMS schedules, you can monitor the status of these messages by looking at the top right corner of each appointment. The white tick in the speech bubble indicates that a reminder has been sent and is awaiting a response back from the patient. The black tick in a notepad indicates that the patient has responded with either a yes or a Y to confirm. If the response includes any other text, including any emojis, the appointment will not be marked as confirmed. The plus in the speech bubble indicates a negative response, where the patient has responded with something else other than a yes or a Y. For example, no, or I can't make it, or yes with an emoji. The exclamation mark in the speech bubble simply means that the SMS failed to send. Gentu will try to resend the SMS up to 5 times before flagging the appointment with this icon. If the cause of this failure is due to insufficient SMS credits, these messages will be queued up to send once additional SMSs have been purchased. The SMS auto top-up feature allows you to keep your account topped up automatically and removes the risk of running out of credits and having to contact the accounts team to manually top up. When your credit balance falls below your predefined threshold, an order will be processed and billed automatically via direct debit as part of your monthly account. You can choose between different top-up amounts, such as 1,000 credits, which gets topped up once it goes below 100 credits, or 2,500 credits, which pops up automatically once it goes below 250 credits. If you are interested, I will give you a few moments to pull out your phones to scan the QR code on the screen. If you do miss the QR code, we will be sending the link to this webinar to you after the session as well. The next topic we'll look at is what's coming up next in Gen 2. If you are not aware, some recent new changes to Gentoo include new letter reference fields in the Gentoo letters, providing greater flexibility in creating auto-populated letter templates based on the data that has been entered into the patient's file. Product information documents are also now available for practices registered with MIMS, where you can now view and print product information documents when adding in medications. A range of Gentoo mobile improvements and updates, including system-wide notifications and a new and improved patient clinical layout, which also includes the patient's pregnancy records. And for our Queensland clients, radiology e-requests are now available at all Queensland X-ray and Hunter imaging locations, with more labs coming on board soon. And a range of new offerings via our Magentus marketplace, such as Health Engine integration and iScribe. With these great new features completed and available now through Gentoo, we would like to provide a sneak peek into some of the great features that we have lined up. For our practitioners, there will be updates to e-prescribing, and as part of this update, quick scripts will also be available, allowing practitioners to quickly prescribe common or frequent medications. Practices will also be able to email other practitioners directly from patient letters in Gentoo. A number of changes to the appointment book, including day notes, where specific notes can be recorded for each particular day. And a find next appointment is a new exciting feature where you'll be able to find the next availability. And then the other aspect of the appointment book is our cancelled or deleted appointment lists. So this way your team can go through and follow up on any appointment cancellations. More updates to the Gentoo mobile app, allowing users to easily capture and upload images and other various document types, and also additional workflow improvements to the e-booking feature. To find out more, check the Gentoo online knowledge base. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, please do not forget to send us the feedback via the submit request form.